How's it going, everybody? So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about moving our perspective into a place where we can experience life from a place where we're not so triggered by things, and to realize and see the kind of essence of what life I feel was really supposed to be in its own right. And what I'm going to go into is about how interpretation creates reality, and how your perspective and your visualization of what reality is in your mind is what's creating your reality for yourself. And I'm just going to go ahead and go into it now. So perspective is everything. Perspective is very, very important to understand, because once you see that everybody is just a perspective, then you recognize that you can move back in perspective and then see that there's another perspective behind all of the individual perspectives, that recognizes that all of these individual perspectives are more like mirrors of the kind of consciousness that sits in the middle of it. So life seems as though it's physical and tangible, and you can touch things and you feel feelings, which feelings in reality are actually of the fourth dimension when you're feeling them, of empathy. So basically, like here, you can also tell you about your dimensions really quick. So when you're in the third dimension, you see everybody as being separate. Okay, you see everybody as being separate, and you think that you're thinking your thoughts and they're thinking their thoughts, and that you two are different. A fourth dimensional perspective would be something more akin to seeing that it's like empathy, basically. When you start experiencing empathy, then you're experiencing more of a fourth dimensional perspective. That perspective includes feeling other people's feelings as if they were yours, recognizing that other people feel the same way that you do, meaning like recognizing also that that life in its own self is, everybody is experiencing the same life, but through different perspectives. Think about that for a second. So it's like these people's lives are literally no different than yours, other than the fact that they chose to make different choices. This can be seen through many different perspectives. So the first one is red ray. Red ray is the base survival chakra. The perspective of red ray is seeing the immediate survival aspects of all situations and going purely off of that. So red ray would be the drug addict that is on the side of the road. Red ray would be you when you're late for something and you're freaking out a little bit. Red ray would be basically any time that your energy moves. And then this is all negative aspects of this, but there's also positive aspect of red ray, which balanced red ray energy feels like a security. It feels like a comfortability. Check out that Christmas tree. Anyways, it feels like a comfortability. It feels like an understanding universally that there is no such thing as death. You can't actually die. Your consciousness just shifts into different perspectives. I'm going back now into the initial thing that I was talking about, where the shift in perspective was the thing that I was talking about, by the way. But like the shift in perspective, you recognize once you start experiencing these things, that perspective moving up into the, and never mind, I'll just go back into the rays, just because this shows as best as I can about the perspective itself. So I'm just taking off my shoes really quick. But anyways, so point being though, is that orange ray is the perspective of creativity and joy, but also lust and envy, hatred, anger, joy, satisfaction, creativity, sexual energy. Basically, it's when you see a filter of everything being, in a negative sense, it's everything is sexualized to you. In a positive sense, everything is an opportunity to be able to express creative energy or joy in the world. These are two different ways of looking at the same thing. It's the same energy being expressed, but through two different perspectives. And so I talked to a person before who was talking about how never mind, I won't go to that. So the yellow ray is when you experience willpower, but also a sense of power over groups of people. It's also a power over yourself too, which means what willpower is when you can basically choose what it is that you want the self to experience, and then through the will of you willing it into existence, experiencing that, because you and it's really like all three of the lower chakras are more like ego expression. They're not particularly negative in a bad way, meaning like you have to stop associating negativity with bad, because negative energy is just as valid as positive energy is. Negative energy is just the other side of the battery that helps charge the battery. I mean, like, it helps the battery actually work. To be afraid of negativity is to be in negativity. Recognize that. The trap of negativity is that it pulls you in by convincing you that you're doing something good for yourself, but in reality, all you're doing is just festering a perspective that is hurting you. So that's a thing. Once you move into the heart, it's almost as if you shift into a completely different reality. What happens is you start seeing things through the eyes of compassion and through love. And what happens is you move into the fourth dimension, sometimes even the fifth dimension. Fifth dimension, I think, is more represented by the throat chakra. But basically, point being though, is that you move into the fourth dimension where you see the other people as reflections of yourself. And you recognize that the reflections of the self want to be loved the same way that the self does. No matter how evil that you previously thought that they were, no matter how different from you you think that they are, everybody is a reflection of you. No matter how evil you think somebody is, they are still an aspect or portion of source creation, infinite intelligence, and God consciousness. There's no denying that. And I mean, the ego can attempt to deny it, but what happens is that eventually that perspective will show itself because it is truth. Once you move into the throat chakra, you start having this urge to express the love that you're feeling as much as you possibly can. So recognize, as I'm going through the chakras, I'm explaining the different perspectives that come from this. Also recognize that each of the chakras is not only a physical energy center, which is not even physical. What it is it's etheric or light-driven energy center. But it's not only that, but it's also a state of consciousness. So every time that you're in a specific chakra, you are in a specific state of consciousness. So I would say to more associate the chakras and colors with states of consciousness, imagine the colors being as if you're literally coloring your reality. Like it's like a filter that you're putting over your reality. And the higher you go up in the chakras, the more beautiful the filter is, and the more truth is able to shine through, the more transparent that the filter is for the white light that is behind it. Once you move up into the violet ray, then you're able to basically split all of the rays into a spectrograph and then look at each of them individually and act on each one of them individually by conscious awareness and choice, rather than by basically being forced into a specific state of consciousness through some sort of external catalyst. Recognizing also that external catalysts are just opportunities for you to see the things inside of yourself that have either been repressed or have been denied. To recognize that when somebody else triggers you, or something else triggers you, or something happens that makes you feel upset or bad or anything like that, that is actually, instead of it being a negative thing that's happening to you, that connotation of you thinking that it's a bad thing is first of all causing it to be infinitely worse. And what that means is that if you didn't have the connotation of it being bad, then there would be no negative energy in it anymore. Like the alchemization and transmutation happens through transmuting energy, and that the way that energy is transmuted is not the way that you would think it. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is just shift the way that you look at the energy. So, and because that perspective is everything, right? So when you're looking at the energy, instead of seeing it as being some negative thing that's happening to you, recognize that this is an opportunity for you to see the imbalances inside of yourself. Recognize the feelings that you're experiencing as being physical feelings that are coming through your body, and stop making the mental associations to the physical feelings of negativity. And then you'll stop experiencing the negativity that's associated with it. And then eventually the physical feelings will also stop because you're not putting attention onto them anymore. And at least not putting negative attention onto it. You can actually transmute feelings, no matter how negative they are, even if they're super, super negative, you can transmute them into their polar opposite through just compassion and love. And the way that you do that is by recognizing the love that is permeating through every single situation in your life. Recognizing that every single situation in your life is an opportunity for love to be presented, for love to be accomplished, for you to experience love, for you to project love, for you to accept love. There's always an opportunity for that, and there's always an opportunity for you to accept negativity as well, you see? So it just depends on whatever it is that you decide to put your attention onto. And if you're continuously experiencing negativity, then I would suggest to try to shift your perspective to starting to see more of the positive things in every situation rather than the negatives. And if you have to, then try to catch yourself every single time that you think a negative thought, and then replace it with 2 positive thoughts. Even if it's something that your mind is convincing you is true, it's not actually true. If something doesn't make you feel good, meaning like if you're feeling bad because of something that is coming through your mind, then there's no truth to that thing. That thing is actually not true. And what I mean by that is that truth is love. Remember this, okay? This is very important as well. Love is truth. And what that means is that if something doesn't feel loving to you, then there's not truth in it, meaning like it's missing an aspect of truth. There's manipulation involved in that thing. So if you're experiencing a thought form that is causing you problems, recognize that that is a manipulative thing that is trying to move your state of consciousness into something else. But you, understanding now that you have free will, understanding what free will is the ability to be able to make any choice or decision at any time freely. So using free will, you can decide at any moment that you don't want to experience negative thoughts and feelings anymore. And it's not even that. So sorry about that. So it's not that you're not going to stop experiencing negative thoughts. What I mean is that you're going to stop responding to negative thoughts and feelings, and you're going to stop labeling them as being negative. You're just going to observe the feeling, and then if you truly just observe the feeling, then it will go away very quickly, like within a couple of seconds. It just depends on how willing you are to let go of clinging to that thought pattern, that thought form. Moving into the indigo ray, this is the first time that the sacramental aspect of reality is starting to be discovered. And what this means is that you recognize that there's an energy transfer between everything, that you and the universe are one and the same, and that cosmic and eternal consciousness is available at all times for every single person all the time, because we are that universal consciousness. You start to recognize that you've had past lives. You start to recognize that life is infinite. You start to recognize that you don't die. All you do is just shift or transition into different states of consciousness. You basically start to see things as being unified, and you start to see things as being completely malleable. Life becomes much more dreamlike instead of being solid or solidified. The higher up in the chakras you go, the more dreamlike life becomes, the more malleable life becomes. Life starts to become something that could be easily distorted or manipulated by your own mind in either way, honestly. And the more powerful that you get with this understanding, the more the more responsibility it really takes in order for you to be able to not misuse this energy and actually hurt yourself. And what I mean by that is that you start to see the underlying ways that reality works, and then if you start trying to manipulate reality for the ego's sake, then reality will start to respond in a very powerful way. And it may not be something that your ego really likes a lot at all. It may be just there to show your ego that it is taking control of your consciousness. The violet ray is like the spectrograph of the whole. It's the connecting force, and it's also the gateway to intelligent infinity. So through expressing heart energy, you move and into the throat, and then you start to use your throat chakra to communicate directly with source consciousness, God, or the universe. And then you start to visualize and download the information from the universe after you make a connection with it by communicating with it, by expressing your love for the universe. Once you start to be able to express more and more love, then more energy will be available for you inside of your indigo ray and your heart and your throat chakras. And basically the access point for intelligent infinity opens up for you when you basically decide to let go of the need to cling to this life, and you recognize that we're completely infinite. And it also opens when you direct your consciousness in one pointed focus to the sense of love, basically. So what you do is you start to feel what love is for you, what the most loving feeling that you ever felt is. And then you feel that, and then you put your attention onto it, and then you focus into that, and then you just amplify that over and over and over again, just in meditation, I guess, if you want to call it like that. This is just one method. There's many infinite methods to do this, but this is one method. And then you just keep amplifying that love until you literally start to like your whole body starts to almost like shake, and you start to have this like existential orgasm. And that's when the pineal gland's activating. That's when the DMT is being secreted. That's when you're starting to experience the expanded, altered state of consciousness. And that is the access point of intelligent infinity. When you're experiencing those extreme like things, like for me, my whole body will start to tingle so hard, and it's not even a tingle at that. It's like a full-on vibration. Like it feels as though my body is literally like, it feels like my consciousness is about to literally shoot out of my body. And a lot of times this happens also through breath work. So breath work is very powerful, and I'll post more videos about breath work, and I'll show you guys me channeling deities and other different kinds of things through breath work as well. And I've been working on that a lot, and channeling also other collectives and things like that. I'm gonna start doing that soon too. And I'm also gonna start attempting to do Akashic record readings for people as well. So we're just gonna see how all this goes, and just give it all a shot. Basically, I'm just gonna have fun with my own consciousness, But yeah, so that was just a basic description on perspective, but from a perspective of the chakras. So just a basic kind of overview of the chakra system, but also the connection between us and everybody else, and just a basic kind of overview about how everybody is experiencing the same reality as you are. We're just all choosing to respond to it differently, react to it differently. We're choosing to have different thoughts about things, recognizing also that all of those thoughts move into a collective thought bubble, and then where you put your attention will start to bring the thoughts to you. So if you put your attention onto negative thoughts, then you are going to bring negativity to you, because these things act more like a magnet than they do like they don't have discernment really. They more just kind of like what you put your mind onto is what comes to you. So you have to learn to, no matter how satisfying it may feel to you to sit there and dwell in negativity, you have to learn to shut that off at will, and to at will choose to shift your perspective into something more positive, in order to be able to actually access these higher dimensions and higher states of consciousness. So you have to be willing to relinquish or give up the need to be right, the need to be negative, the need to be to judge, to extort, manipulate, the need to control, the need to all these things need to be given up in order for you to be able to really easily contact this infinite intelligence. But yeah, this was just a really short kind of intro kind of thing to the chakras and perspective in general, and I'll go into this more later on. But yeah, I just felt like making a video today, so I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I shall see you later.